Hello and welcome to today's training on creative problem solving. This has been made available for you by Business Online Learning, your bite-sized business training provider. And this is presented to you today by Martha for Business Online Learning. Based on over 30 years business management experience, I have put together these few key points to get you started in how to become a creative manager. On our website, we also have many books that will also help you further, as our aim is to support you to go confidently in the direction of your dreams and help you live the life that you have imagined. This video today is about how to be a more creative manager. We also have follow-up videos on the different techniques, but this video is to give you a few key points on how to get started. As Einstein said, creativity is intelligence having fun. Unimaginative management is a sure way to failure. The left-hand side of our brain is responsible for logical thinking, and this is our analytical approach, our thinking, and it always follows a step-by-step approach. It's continuous, where one step leads on to the next until you bring all your thinking down to one possible solution or result. Creative thinking, however, is innovative. It's imagination, and it always produces new ideas and new ways of looking at things. It's like the story of a certain inventor who said because he thought his best thoughts in the shower, he wanted to have one built into his office. His management refused, but the competitors didn't, and he was hired on the spot and a shower was given to him. Soon after, he produced the very first mouse for laptops. Now that was creative management, allowing different ideas. The two sides of our brain are very different. The left is the more analytical, logical side, and the right is the more creative side. Our left brain uses this step-by-step approach. It loves details and facts. It has our listening or our auditory skills. It's logical, loves numbers, is time conscious. It prefers true and false statements to these multiple choice questions. It doesn't like risk taking, and in situations it actually looks for differences. It likes rules and definitions and boundaries and clarity. It asks, now how does that work, rather than why? Our right brain, however, that likes visualization, shapes, patterns. It likes singing, music, theatre, art. It likes to see the whole picture. It thinks in colours, and in situations it likes to compare or seeks comparisons. Our right brain is responsible for our emotional intelligence. It prefers stories to true and false statements. It is sensitive and emotional, and it will ask why rather than how. Don't get me wrong, creative thinking is not superior to logical thinking. It's just different. The best thinkers, including Einstein, were both logical and creative. You see, at the end of the day, it all comes down to the point of having to make a decision, and your logical thinking is needed to make those decisions, but it is how you came to the material on which you made the decision. That is where creativity has the strongest role to play. Especially nowadays, we need to be able to be creative. So this video is to encourage you to develop that capacity for creative thinking. How wonderful is this marketing done by Kit Kat, the chocolate bar company, who were asked to donate a park bench. And this is exactly how that chocolate biscuit looks. You can imagine the people coming to the park where they went straight after. But we have barriers to our creative thinking. It isn't easy. One of them is that we always seem to follow dominant patterns. We're conditioned to be that way. We seem to be trapped into a fixed way of looking at things. This placard certainly shows this way of breaking out of trapped or fixed ways of looking at things. They placed a mannequin behind the poster, and of course this automatically drags a person's attention towards it. How creative is that? They gave the message of a person being trapped or neglected and made it all the more visible. Beautifully creative. We also tend to restrict our thinking between very rigid, drawn and limiting boundaries. No, that's not the way we do it. No, this is the way. Oh, but we've never done it that way. No, that's not right. Why not? I liked this picture as well, and I thought it was very suiting. I think this is wonderful, to be able to curl your toes in sand while you're doing creative work. Might be a bit of a mess to clean up afterwards, but how creative is that? We also, in our logical way of thinking, we don't step back and look at the assumptions that we make. This is why magicians or illusionists are so successful. They base their work on our assumptions because we never question what's behind everything. This picture I also found very creative in placing a box for a bookshelf. Our assumption is there are books behind it. The creative person knows that it's a container. As logical thinkers, we always have the tendency to think it's going to be either this way or this way. But in fact, there can be many other ways of approaching a problem or approaching a situation. In this picture, we have a wonderful creative way of looking at things. Typically, a business meeting room is your standard table and chairs. How about this with a whole set of swings? What team wouldn't like to have a meeting here? And can you imagine how creative the work would be if you have to meet in that office? When we think in logical steps, we tend to aim for that one best idea, rather than thinking divergently, looking towards many different ideas. In groups, we tend to stick with what the group believe in, instead of just leaving the group think and going to test out new waters. Typically, we don't try to challenge what is obvious. We always look for the easy solution. Who would ever have thought that out of plastic bottles you could end up creatively making a broom like this? Wonderful creation. We always jumped to conclusions, and we try to conform in order to give the best answer that is expected of us. It is these expectations on us that will quite often also limit our thinking. This is the famous picture of the elephant. How many legs does he have? We expect to say 4, but in fact he's got 5. Another reason for limited creative thinking to be aware of, we actually have a great fear of looking foolish or being put down by others. Oh, what's he thinking of now? What's she coming up with? My advice is, in order to develop your creative ability, be aware of restrictions and just try slowly to break away from those restricting habits. Open up your mind to generate new ideas, new possibilities. Explore them at least. Explore these alternative possibilities and delay all judgment on your ideas until it really seems impossible or a crazy way to go. Have you ever heard of this? It's called the judge and jury in our minds. Quite often, we have delegated the task of judge and jury in our mind to people from our past, and everything we do, we refer to them in our imagination for approval. Is this right or is this wrong? My suggestion is, be aware of your judge and jury. Who do you relate to? If it's not healthy, release them from the jury in your mind. We all use our past experiences, but these can represent boundaries to our thinking. We all use our past experiences to relate to new situations, but it is these very past experiences that can be so limiting. They can create boundaries that are completely unreliable. What are the boundaries to your thinking? What past experiences have you gone through? Be it some failure or some situation which worked out negatively for you. Will this hold up your creative thinking? I thought this marketing method from Toyota was excellent. Typically, a placard or a billboard will have your wooden structure with paper plastered over it. Toyota wanted to express their environmental approach in the new Prius way, and they used bales of hay. How wonderful is that? They went over the typical into the creative and got an extremely strong message out there. Our perception will always be based on our past experience. What else have we to rely on? But it is these assumptions that we should also be very aware of. Bring them out into the open and then challenge them, because they could actually restrict your freedom. Maybe things won't work out like they did the last time. Maybe they can be different. So challenge these assumptions. Challenge your past experience. History may not repeat itself. Delay judging the ideas. You see, it's always easy to find 10 ways to say no, but instead adopt an approach of why not. When you come to generating new ideas, you have to have an open mind, open for new possibilities, new solutions, and explore all angles. We will be giving you various methods of how to do this. There are hundreds of different approaches you can take. Once you have a certain amount of techniques, this will make creative thinking all the much easier. Having gone through your particular favourite technique, make a list of all the possible outcomes without looking for any one best way, and then deliberately again break away from those previous habits and assumptions that it may go badly as it did the last time. Allow free thinking. This is very important, to start meeting or introducing yourself to sources of new free thinkers. TED Talks is an excellent example. Introduce people, books, videos, forums, articles, and groups to your sources of information. Find groups or people that you can exchange your ideas with, no matter how crazy they may seem. Be aware of your own biases within yourself and those of other people. Other people will also be limited by their assumptions. When you are seeking your creative solutions, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What is new about this situation? Is there another way than the simple, logical way to solve it? And keep asking yourself the question, why, and why again? You see, with creative thinking, it is the final result that counts, not how you got there. It doesn't matter if you stumble along the way. So long as delays are not protracted, the important point is that you arrive in the right place at the end. So to wrap up, what does it mean being a creative manager? It means to learn, to suspend judgment, to seek out patterns, to look for the overall picture, to use unconventional ways, to use your emotional intelligence, to address the beauty or the aesthetics in the situation, to listen to your intuition, your stomach feeling, to go on hunches more, to be sensitive and to use emotion, to ask why more than how, and to use more visualization triggers. Learn how to mind map, learn how to do rich picks, learn how to do influence diagrams, relationship diagrams, CATWO analysis, and be prepared to risk-take more. Our advice is just be courageous and think outside the box. We hope you liked that video. We would love if you joined us on Facebook, YouTube, we're on Pinterest. We have a lively community on Google+. I'm on LinkedIn as Martha Begley and on Twitter as Online Martha. We were delighted you joined us. Do tune in for the follow-up trainings on creative problem solving. Thank you very much and best of luck.